Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Mostly.
Oh, we got a good recommendation for you. So we do suggestions every 5 episodes if you're new here.
One of you suggested this movie.
Yes, one of you did suggest this movie, and I have some thoughts.
Little did I know.
But anyway, so before we get into all of that, thank you guys so much for listening. First and foremost, we appreciate all our fans that have been kind of engaging on our online stuff. I've been really trying hard to post more I've been trying to post more on our socials, and really give you guys an idea of what we do, what we want to do, all that good stuff. So I really appreciate the engagement. I really appreciate all you guys listening. If you do happen to like this and are new here, go to all of your web zones, YouTube, all your podcast areas. Go ahead and give us a like, comment, subscribe. Rating would also be, preferable. We have only 1 rating on Facebook so far and 1 rating on Spotify, I think.
I didn't even know you could rate on Facebook. But okay.
You can. We have a good rating.
Fascinating.
Someone gave us a really good shout out, so thank you. Also, Spotify, you can't write a review, but you can still rate us, so we appreciate that. I admittedly have not checked iTunes.
I know we have some.
We probably do, but I am not an Apple user. I know. Shocker.
iTunes is also a bit of a...
It's Apple Music or whatever. But
bit of a pain in the ass.
But anyway, so thank you guys for doing that. It really helps us out, and we really like the engagement. So go there, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We appreciate you. Now let's get into our review of the Godsend.
So this came up as a recommendation.
Can I just say, just off the bat, before we even start, What the fuck?
Oh, this is good stuff.
What the fuck?
Telling you.
This subject matter is so, I did not expect them to go this far. I kind of knew a little bit about what it was about, but wow, I was not prepared.
So this is based on a book.
Yes, and you've read the book.
I have read this book. I think I read this book 4 or 5 years ago, and I absolutely loved this book.
Yeah.
And, when this recommendation came up, I looked it up and I read the plot synopsis, and immediately I'm like, oh my God, they made a fucking movie of the book. Holy shit. And then I was like, okay, are they going to keep the content of the book in the movie? And lo and behold, they did.
Well, so we also, I was looking into the director a little bit before we get into the movie review. Her name is Gabrielle Beaumont, and she kind of made a splash because she's one of the first women to make prime time series.
Yeah, so there was a lot of TV credits.
She's one of the foremost getting that off the ground, prime time, movie quality series, basically. So I have to give a shout out. That's pretty cool that there's kind of representation. I think this is one of her only movies she did, because she did a lot of TV.
There's a lot of TV work.
It's a lot of TV work.
One of, if not the only, theatrical movies. So
I just thought that was pretty cool. Just looking into it, I think she's pretty awesome, getting all that off the ground. No, it's a British film, so that's probably in Britain. Well, no, it could be in Hollywood specifically, but... her
TV work was in Hollywood, but
This was British.
I'm assuming this was produced in the UK, but the book is British.
This is set in London and a small, community outside of London. Yeah. Because there's lots of, screen shots of London.
This was also because if you look at the even with the book, the advertising is kind of, it makes you think that this is a demonic possession or a...
Well, and I think that's also, I guess I kind of wanted to get into that too. I've seen a lot of reviews that are like, "Oh, this is just an Omen ripoff. This is like,
Yeah.
whatever." Or like Bad Seed hadn't come
Bad
out
Seed,
yet.
yeah. No, I had. Bad Seed was in the 50s,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Bad Seed had come out. So I think a lot of people were kind of thinking it was like a ripoff of that. But I think this goes places that, I mean, the Omen does go, but like not the Bad Seed specifically. And it's definitely not an Omen ripoff. Like, I don't know where that's really coming from. I wouldn't say it's a ripoff of the Omen at all. I would say it's very different than the Omen.
I had to pull it up, but the original book cover when it came out, it said, if you liked The Exorcist, The Other, and Rosemary's Baby,
Okay.
then this book is for you. So it definitely played up the demonic child thing. I'm surprised they didn't mention the Omen on there.
I would say that's probably to the detriment, though, like, because it's not really that kind of thing. I mean, there's some like mystery to it, but I wouldn't say it's like mystery. I wouldn't say it's like very like demonic.
Plus, I think with the title too, it's very easy for people to be like, "Oh, it's going to be like the Omen."
Yeah, but don't go into it before we get into the review. I would suggest watching this movie. I mean, if you like this kind of stuff, and it is well done. It's well made. The acting's good. Everything's pretty well done, to be honest. I don't know if the person that recommended it wanted us to hate it or like it. I actually liked it.
Yeah, this was good.
But I would suggest going to watch it before you listen to our review. We had to find a copy through certain means. I don't know if it's on YouTube or whatever.
I think it is.
It might be. There might be like a lower quality there. I would suggest going to watch it, and don't go into it thinking it's going to be a ripoff of any of those like demonic things.
Yeah.
It's not a Rosemary's Baby. It's not an Omen. It's not any of those things. It's its own thing. I would say it's kind of similar to Bad Seed in a way, but not exactly, because it's a little bit more extreme than that.
Yeah.
A lot more extreme, I would say.
Than a 50s movie, yeah.
Yeah. So, so I don't know. Like, if you go watch it, but here's our review of the Godsend. I almost forgot the title of the movie, so my apologies. The Godsend.
So in the beginning, very fitting, you see a shot of birds flying.
Well, yeah, and you also get this like helicopter shot of like the countryside, right?
And they do the credits over that, and then it comes up to this family,
and they're walking through the woods,
and it like zooms in on them, and
this
that's
family,
sort of
just to give a little levity, this family loves being outdoors. They fucking love it. Like, every time you see them, they're basically outdoors. There's very little interior shots in this movie.
Yeah, they have this like little cottage, but they spend most of their time,
lying on a blanket or on a picnic table or
playing hide and seek. Yeah,
playing hide and seek. They're outside a lot. They're very much outdoor enthusiasts.
They don't have a TV in the cottage or anything.
So they're walking through the forest, and the mom starts talking to. So there's a dad, two boys, a daughter, and like a little baby. And so they start running. So the dad chases after the three more like older kids, and the mom stays back with the baby and talks to this like strange woman.
Well, they stop racing, and then the dad looks back to see what the mom is doing. He takes out some binoculars,
and he sees like this strange woman. She's like wide-eyed, doesn't blink, is very pregnant.
Yes.
And like blonde hair, and almost looks like the stereotype I could most associate with is like a cult, like something out of a cult, like
yes,
like a woman that's from a cult.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it, because she's like dressed in all white, and she's very weird and awkward and strange.
Yeah, and she ends up going home with them.
Yeah, because the
wife like invites her in.
Yeah, so she goes in, and the husband's kind of like, okay, well, like, is she gonna, like, what's she doing here? And
like, who's she staying with and all this stuff.
And she like says, she spins some story about how she's like near,
she has friends
there, but it's like a cottage near there.
Yeah.
And she has friends. So while they're getting something ready.
Well, he asks her like,
well, because they like have a drink. She doesn't.
"Where are you from?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm all around." And
well, because again, like you have a total stranger in your house.
Yeah.
You kind of want to get an idea of like who they are, where are they from, and she's not really giving anything. It's very vague details.
But she says,
well, she also says she like.
During the winter.
She specifically says during the winter she goes south.
She always goes south during the winter.
Yes, like a bird. And so she's just very awkward. That continues for a little bit, and then they leave the room. They leave her in the room because I guess they're going to go like take their kids to bed or something. I can't remember exactly why they leave the room, but they leave her alone.
Yeah.
And she starts like kind of like rubbing her hand on. She's being very weird and like
just touching everything.
It almost looks like a witch like cursing things in a room in a way. I know I keep using like metaphors, but like that's kind of how she's acting, because she'll like touch the back of her hand to a leaf and like rub the side of a wood, like the side of like the wood paneling. And she actually, the weirdest part is like, I guess that on purpose.
Oh yes.
She goes to the phone and she like pulls the cord and like rips it out of the wall.
Yep.
And right before they come back in, so she like puts it behind so they can't see that it's ripped out of the wall.
And then eventually it stops raining, because it was raining, and the husband's like, "Oh, I'll take you home."
Well, this kind of like put a switcheroo on me, because I'm so used to in horror movies when they pull the phone cord that the person is just going to massacre and murder the entire family, right? That doesn't happen at all.
Right.
They like pretty much the exact opposite happens. They all live. And so
but there's a reason.
There's a very good reason. So yeah, the guy's going to take her home. He starts like leading her to the car, and all of a sudden she starts going into labor. And he's like, "Oh fuck, okay. I'll go get the doctor. You stay here with her. We'll be like right back." So he rushes to go get the doctor, and the mom, the wife, stays behind to help her give birth to a baby.
Yep. And she does.
Right when the doctor gets there,
everything's fine.
Everything's fine. She's like
no emotion.
Well, and she doesn't even show emotion when she's in labor.
She shows like strain. But
she's not like screaming or anything like that. She's just straining, and then gets it out, and like no emotion, goes right back to like flat defect. Nothing is the matter. And so the doctor's, well, well, I guess you got everything handled here. You don't really need me anymore. So they were
like, "Oh well, I guess she's staying the night," but
Well, they all like go to bed, and then it's the morning, and the mom goes in to check on the woman, and she's gone,
completely gone,
and the baby is still in the basket. And so she picks up the baby, and they can't find the woman anywhere. So the mom is just like, "Well, I guess we're just keeping the baby."
Yeah,
because they like all have a discussion about it. Like he's fine with it, she's fine with it. They're like, "Well, we don't want to give it up, so let's just keep it and raise it as our own."
And then immediately,
very altruistic.
Yeah. And then right away, there's a part where
I will admit, so this movie does a lot of time jumps.
Yeah.
It doesn't really tell you, but the kids you see
them getting older.
You see the kids getting older. So like, I mean, they're like infants, and then it shows them just a little bit older.
Maybe like a year.
It's like a year or two has gone by. Not very much, but it does not give you timestamps. It doesn't give you anything like that. It'll just say, it doesn't say anything.
Which just goes into the scene.
It just goes into the scene. You just notice that the kids are older.
Yep.
I just had to say that because it does do that quite a bit.
I mean, if you're the kind of person who struggles...
Yeah, just know.
I just know that we are not.
We are not.
We've seen billions of movies.
So if you are that person,
but if you are that person,
it does time jump a lot. But don't worry, you'll
get your notepad out.
You'll be okay. I promise.
You'll be fine.
Look at the hairstyles and how tall the kids are.
I was gonna say
be okay.
They also changed the hairstyles on the parents.
Yeah. So, so yeah, it immediately cuts to, I guess, the woman's like screams, and the husband like goes up and like sees that their toddler
Is dead.
and the blonde-haired other toddler.
New child.
Now you can tell that I mean, obviously, none of them are blonde hair.
Yes.
And she's the only one that has blonde hair. So I mean, again, unless you're an idiot, you know which one is the
Visually for you to differentiate.
yes. So yeah, he's the toddler's dead, and so they're obviously like destroyed over this.
But they
they managed to be like, okay, let's.
And they officially make the decision to like officially adopt.
Yeah, so the
girl.
They get like the
call her Bonnie because she has. They call her Bonnie Blue because she has blue eyes.
Yeah, Bonnie Blue Eyes. And, the mom even name drops the movie where she's like, oh, she's a godsend.
Yes.
Because it's like, I lost one baby, but we got another baby, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this one will have to, like, replace... I don't know, like...
Because they're the same age, around the same age.
Yeah, I mean, they're around the same age, so it's like, okay, like, she's like, okay, well, like...
We had a tragedy, but...
We have a tragedy, but we'll move on, and we can take care of Bonnie as our own.
And then...
And then, of course, it time jumps a little bit again.
And, she's old enough to walk, but she's still basically a little toddler.
She's like 3 or 4, I would guess, at this age.
I think 3, because when the older kid bites it, she's 4. I know that.
Oh, okay.
But, they're all like having a picnic, and there's like, they've all been playing, and you hear like a scream.
Now, this is around like, it's like a old castle or something.
It's like these old ruins.
And so like, there's lots of like places to climb and places to like hide, basically.
And the one of the little girls, she climbed up to this ruin. Now she's scared to get down. So the parents are distracted.
Yep. So
you see Bonnie and the younger kid. He's like doing something, and she just shoves him over.
Well, remember, he like drops a basketball, and he's going to pick it up, and she shoves him.
She just shoves him over.
And so she just laughs, and you can kind of get an idea of like she's controlling them at this point because they're all afraid of her.
They're all scared of her, yeah. Even the older one, who's like,
and you're getting more of an idea of like what is going on, the dynamic between the kids, without anything being spoken. And so then her and the younger one like run off somewhere, and the older one stays behind, but he knows something fucked up is happening, I guess, because like, I mean, obviously they've all seen Bonnie's behavior, but the adults don't want to notice it yet.
Well, how do you
how do you reconcile with that? Like,
how do you say that?
How do you
I'm scared of the little toddler.
How do you prove something like that? A 3-year-old is killing our kids. Woo! Like
she killed one of our babies when she was like less than a year old.
You'd be like institutionalized almost immediately. How do you prove that? So anyway, they get their other daughter down, and they go back to the picnic area, and they're like, "Hey, where is Bonnie and like our kid?" And the older one's like, "Well, I don't know where they went. They just ran off somewhere." So, like, the dad starts looking everywhere. He tells them to go to the car. And he starts looking everywhere, and then he finds...
There's like a lake.
And so they find Bonnie.
And she's wet.
And so he dives into the lake. And that's when the mom and everyone comes around.
Exactly.
Like, great, here we
you
go.
know exactly what's going to happen.
And mind you, this is in the first, like...
25 minutes,
25 to 30 minutes. So they find the dead son in the lake.
Drowned.
They take him out of the lake, and he tries to resuscitate him, and he's dead.
The whole time he's trying to resuscitate him, Bonnie's just staring. And she has, like, bruises on her arms.
And the dad notices the bruises and thinks at first that Bonnie was trying to save him. And he was thrashing so much that he, like, bruised her. And so he doesn't think anything is going on. And so, again, you can see they're more distraught, obviously, because they're losing kids. And so the mom is going a little bit more crazy, and the dad is getting a little bit more stressed out, obviously. I mean, how could you not?
And then
we get a scene of them hanging out outside.
Yep, and they're all...
Because it literally just jumps to, like, scene to scene. I mean, there is a few, like, after this, there's a little bit where no deaths happen.
Yeah.
And there's
it's
little
just
bit...
family falling apart.
Yeah, there's a little bit here where... Because we get scenes of, like, the kid playing with, like, a plane. And Bonnie's, like... And Bonnie keeps blaming the kids for different...
Well, the mom walks in the house and there's like a plate shattered.
Yeah, so she goes outside and she asks the
son.
Well, so she asked Bonnie first, remember?
Says,
And
no.
Bonnie's like, no, I didn't break that. And then she goes to the son in the treehouse and she says, you know, did you break this? And he says, no. And then he looks at Bonnie and she's like, you're lying. And he's like, he kind of like... he gets coerced into saying that it was him. And then he's also playing with a plane and
eventually you see like Bonnie like staring at him while he's doing this, and then there's a scene where you see it all destroyed.
Well, and the dad picks it up and is going into the room,
and you see him like you hear an argument,
and then you see the older kid shove Bonnie onto a bed,
and so the dad's pissed, and he's like, why are you, shoving her around? Like, why did you destroy your toy?
Well, and the kid's like, she pulled my hair.
She was beating me up.
Yeah, she's being mean. And he's like, she's like 4 years old. There's no way she could do that. What are you talking about?
So he, shoos him away. And then he talks to Bonnie and he's like, do you want to show me what you're holding? Because her hand's like... And
she like... shakes her head and then drops a piece of his hair,
a strand of his hair,
and so he's like tucking them in at night. This is the dad, and he notices a big patch of hair missing from his son's head
with the blood.
Yep, with blood, and so he kind of starts piecing it together. It's not quite there yet,
right? But it's the suspicions.
But the seeds start being planted here, and so then.
They're outside and this is when they start playing hide and seek.
Hide and seek? Okay, yeah. So the son obviously doesn't want to play because he doesn't want anything to do with Bonnie.
He does not trust her at all.
Now the daughter and Bonnie are close at this point.
Yeah.
She's old. She's much older than Bonnie, but she has no problems with Bonnie.
Not yet.
And that will play kind of a factor because Bonnie doesn't quite go after her for a minute. And so they start playing hide and seek, and the mom goes and the mom hides, the daughter hides, and then you see the son go through the bushes and Bonnie follow him into the bushes near a barn.
So the husband finds the wife, finds the little girl, and then he finds Bonnie.
Yes.
And then they can't find the son. And so he eventually goes on his own and starts looking in this barn. Oh, he also notices...
He does find Bonnie.
Yes, I did say that. And he notices that her ribbon is missing.
Yes. So he goes into a barn and he like climbs up on these like big haystacks. And then he's looking around and the music swells and you see the older like kid is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so he like picks him up and they're just like at their wits' end. I mean, they've lost 3 kids at this point. They have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Well, there's like a scene where they're just not talking to each other. She's in bed and they're just both like they have nothing to say.
Again, how do you reconcile with this? You've lost 3 kids in the span of like 3 years or something like that. I don't know what I would do. I have no idea. I have no idea what I would do. I have literally like I could not even put myself. It's unfathomable.
But he goes into the barn with a flashlight and he finds the ribbon.
He waits till his wife is asleep because how do you blame, you have a sneaking suspicion that your 4-year-old daughter from a weird woman
is
murdering your kids.
All your kids.
Now, first off, proving that is impossible.
Yes.
There would be no fucking way.
Especially because, he's significantly older and taller than her, the son. So it's like...
Well, and she's like this tiny little
Yeah.
like blonde
How's she gonna
like
do it?
girl. Like
Yeah.
there's no way she could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a movie has to happen,
Yeah.
obviously. So he finds the ribbon
Mm-hmm.
in the barn. I mean, surprise, surprise, obviously. But and he does nothing about it for now. Because
They also start getting letters from people.
yeah, so they get letters. This is what prompts them to move to like a bigger city.
They move back to London.
Yeah, so they get letters of like, how could you murder your kids? Like,
There's like a reporter.
We know it was you.
Yeah.
Like, the cops know that you've done this.
Yeah.
So apparently they're getting like investigated.
There's
and,
like a reporter that shows up,
there's like
hassling
rumors
them.
going around the small village that they're murdering their kids. So like, fuck that. Let's go to London.
And they go and like, it jumps a little and you can tell that their relationship is not.
Well, they've also like haven't had sexual relations in a very long time.
They're just very short with everything.
They're very short. They're very stressed. She basically has to start working again. And he has to work extra hours.
He's like an illustrator.
Yeah, he's an illustrator, and like, things are the tension is high.
And they also aren't sleeping together much because Bonnie keeps having she has trouble sleeping. And so she's always insisting that the mom sleeps with her.
And this is kind of the period where like it has to build up to something, right? So not a lot of murder and mayhem happen. It's building up to that. So yeah, Bonnie constantly sleeps with the mom. Bonnie wants nothing to do with the dad. There's multiple scenes of like him talking about how she never wants to be around him. She always wants to be around the mom, is always taking up the mom's time. We get lots of scenes of like her like complaining that she's not around the mom.
Then there's...
Should we just jump to the scene where he cleans like the clutter room?
Yeah, because there's that. He cleans like this room up.
And like gets her an anniversary present.
And they have like they like, there's a scene of them making a Christmas tree.
Yes.
And it's all much happier.
Well, and they do eventually have sex in one of the scenes because, like Bonnie's at like a babysitter's or something. They like give Bonnie to a sitter and then they have sex.
But then Bonnie shows up early because the babysitter comes and knocks on the door and is like, oh, she just really wanted to go home.
But Bonnie's too late.
Too late.
Well, we'll learn later that they did conceive a child. Now, it's a fucked up movie, so we'll see what happens there.
But there's that scene where it's after all this, where he's like laying in bed and you just see Bonnie, like, she slowly walks up to the bedroom, goes in there and like climbs on the bed and she kisses him on the lips twice.
It's a very awkward scene. I was highly uncomfortable, but I think that's the point.
And then he gets sick.
He gets sick and the doctor's like, well, like, can you hear me? And he is like coming to and he's like, oh yeah, I can hear you. I'm feeling better down there too.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I probably don't need to visit anymore. You're probably fine. But we know he's having problems.
There's something going on.
South of the border.
There's something happening.
And so we also get like a few scenes of him. I guess they kind of mention that he got a doll for Bonnie. And Bonnie wants nothing to do with the doll.
Nothing at all.
But won't let the daughter touch it either. And so the dad is like, something fucked up is going on. And this is when he really starts to be like, okay, like, like there's something wrong with Bonnie.
The real thing is when he takes them both to the park.
Yes. So sorry, I was just setting up the next, this is like act 3. This is where like we finally, like the dad finally learns that Bonnie is really fucked up.
Because he sees it.
So they're at the park and, there's a few scenes, like tension building scenes of like Bonnie making the daughter, like they're both like climbing up this really high zip line, but nothing happens. And then they're like going down a slide and you think something's going to happen, but nothing happens. And then finally the daughter goes to the swings and is like, Bonnie, push me. And so, she starts pushing her. And the dad, being exhausted.
He's like laying by a tree.
Well, and he's like recovering from like whatever sickness he had. He starts falling asleep. And so Bonnie sees him falling asleep while the daughter's swinging. And she like pulls back this heavy swing. It's like these heavy metal swings.
Yeah.
And, waits for the perfect moment. And right when she's about to throw the swing into the daughter, the dude wakes up and sees her throw the swing.
He sees her throw it directly in her path. And so, he rescues her or whatever. And this is when he, like, really...
This is when it's, like, confirmed.
Yeah.
That, he knows that she's been, like, killing them off.
Yeah, and he confronts the mom.
Well, the mom's like, you're fucking crazy. Like, what are you talking about? There's no way.
Yeah, and he's like saying, like just think about it, like every single kid, and now I saw it with my own eyes.
Well, and he confesses that he found the ribbon.
Yes.
And she's like, she was 4 years old. There's no way she could have pushed him. He mentions the bruises on Bonnie's wrists.
That she wasn't. The bruises are from him trying to fight back.
Well, and she was like, no, there's no way that, like, Bonnie is doing this. Bonnie is a good girl. You should have seen how concerned she was. And he's like, she's only concerned when you're gone.
Well, she says,
or like how sweet she was when
you were sick and all this stuff. And it's of course.
And he's like, of course, that's because she was around you more.
She just wants your attention. And that's when he mentions and it's directly from the book, but he says that there's like this bird, and what it does is it lands in like a nest that already has eggs in it, and it lays an egg of its own in that nest, and it flies away. And when that egg hatches, that bird, it kills every other bird in the nest.
He's like, he basically says it pushes all the eggs out of the nest until it's the only one left and the only one that gets affection from the parents.
And it's basically like saying that that's her.
Like, she wants only the attention of the mom.
That is what Bonnie is.
And he's like, Bonnie never wants to be around me. Mm-hmm. I got her that doll. She never wants it. Like, there's so much evidence. But again, no one wants to believe a fucking like 6-year-old at this point, a 6 or 7-year-old is fucking murdering people.
Well, he takes the other girl.
So he's like, fuck this. I'm taking my daughter, my real daughter.
Yes.
And I'm going away.
And he goes away.
And he takes her to like this residential community on the beach and like keeps her there to a point.
She basically tells the wife, like, I am not taking her back until Bonnie's gone.
When he even like gives her an ultimatum.
Yeah, like,
he's like it's either like me and your real daughter or Bonnie.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not making that decision. I'm not making that choice. Like, there's no fucking way you can tell me that this kid is killing people.
And they're just on the beach hanging out, and he gets like a newspaper.
And like a piece of it flies away.
And the other daughter goes and catches it. And then she's like looking at it. And then she's like, look, mommy's in the hospital.
Now you mentioned this next scene is ripped straight from the book too, right?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. Are they going to do this scene? Or are they going to do it? And so she's in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Because she's been on TV before. So that's why it's in the news that she's hospitalized. And so he goes there. And, says that, like, yeah, she looks really bad. Because she fell down some stairs. And, but she's okay. Everything's fine. And then the nurse or whatever says, like, yeah, it's too bad. But, there's really no reason that you shouldn't try again.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about?
We learned that there's no reason. There is a reason they shouldn't try again.
She was pregnant.
Yes.
And now she's not pregnant.
And so he is like, it's definitely Bonnie.
She is.
Like,
yes.
She is fucking murdering all of my kids.
Yes. Even the ones that aren't born yet.
Even the unborn ones. What the fuck? Like I said, this movie is fucked. It's all about child murder. Like,
Yeah.
we watched an hour and 25 minutes of fucking child murder.
Of
We'll get to my final thoughts in a minute.
absolute child murder.
So anyway, he takes her back to the house, right, with the daughter, and while she's recovering, and so he asked the neighbors what happened, because he's trying to figure out how Bonnie was trying to
how did she fall?
Not kill her, but kill the child. And so he asks the neighbor straight up, and he's like, well, like, I just saw her at the bottom of the stairs, and I think she tripped on like a doll or something.
Like a creepy looking doll. And
A creepy looking doll was like the top of the stairs. And he's like,
he knows.
What?
Yeah.
Excuse me, what the fuck?
He knows.
Yeah.
The doll she never plays with, she perfectly...
Confirmed. So he's basically going to confront everything.
Yeah.
So he decides to, I can't remember exactly what happens, but I know he's like one of the big confrontations.
Well, there's a scene of him like in his
office,
and he's like illustrating, and he has this thing where he imagines like taking Bonnie and like leaving her by the ocean.
Well, because apparently at this point, so the wife is still recovering. He's still trying to figure out what to do about Bonnie and the the daughters with someone else. Not because he doesn't want her to be around Bonnie. And so he's like, he imagines taking her to like the beach
and abandoning her.
And abandoning her on a rock at like high tide.
Yeah.
And while he's like climbing, like it's the biggest like fuck you dream.
It's like, I know.
Because
I know what you did.
He's like, Bonnie, I know.
You'll never take my real daughter away. Like
you'll never like ruin my family again.
And and then it shows him like he like draws like an illustration of Bonnie. He starts like crossing out her eyes.
Yeah.
And then one of their family friends shows up, and he's like there to like try to like talk him out of it. Basically, like there's no way. Like I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
I know you've suffered severe trauma from all this.
Incredible trauma.
And then eventually, like the wife shows up and basically says like, "That's it. Like I want a divorce.
I want a divorce." And he's like, "Don't you see that this is Bonnie?
Yeah.
This is all she wants. She's killing them one by one. She's going to kill our daughter if we let her." And
there's a point where he says like, well, they keep arguing, and he says something like, there will never be another one. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm sterile. That's it. She fucking killed my ability to have children.
Yeah. So that scene where she kissed him on the lips was making him sterile.
She did something to him, and that's it.
Like
no more fucking kids.
Fucked up his brain, or something happened where he cannot no longer have kids. And so she's still super upset about it, and he's basically saying like, we need to go. We need to get our daughter.
She also confronts him because I guess he went to like a social worker and tried to convince them to just take Bonnie away.
So that at that point he realizes that the mom left.
Well, she tells him.
Left Bonnie alone with the older daughter. And he's like, what the fuck did you do? Like she's going to fucking die.
And he calls them.
And then the mom kind of starts
a
little bit putting it together, because she's kind of on the verge of maybe believing him, but not like, it's not like confirmed that she believes him, but she kind of starts connecting the dots a little bit, where she's like, oh, well, maybe
there's something to this. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see where it goes. But so he's like, I'm going to get our daughter. You can either stay here or come down quick.
Yeah.
And so they both get in the car. They race.
Well, no, first they call.
Yes. And then the daughter answers, and he's like, okay, don't hang up the phone. Just go to the door. And she's like,
no, he tells her the key to the door is on top of this cabinet.
She says it's locked, and he like asks the wife like,
did you lock it?
And she's like, no, of course I didn't lock our kids in. And so she goes and checks, the keys aren't there, and Bonnie's right behind her. And so the line cuts dead, and that's when they race over.
Well, it's after so first the daughter goes and like she's gonna see if the key's there, and it's not. So she goes back to the phone and is like, the key's not there.
Yeah.
Like, Bonnie's staring at me. I don't know what to do. And then
the line goes dead. And so they race over. And you see you get a cut of Bonnie slowly walking towards the daughter, and the daughter gets freaked out and runs upstairs, right? And so they start fighting in the room.
Well, you don't see them fighting.
Well, sorry, yeah. So that she runs upstairs, and then it cuts back to them. They finally get to the house, and you see the daughter like waving from the top window.
The top window, yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck no.
And he's like, don't open the window.
He's like, don't open the window. Whatever you do, do not open the window. And she opens the window, and you see Bonnie right behind her.
And she pushes her out of the window.
She pushes her out, and you see fucking her fall out of the window.
And boom.
And she's dead. And
he runs in, and he runs upstairs, and he sees Bonnie staring at him.
He's in a rage.
Yeah.
Right? Seeing red, obviously. This little girl has massacred his entire fucking family at this point. So he's in a rage. He's going to fucking kill her. He even says it. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And so he goes up to the room. They start tussling, and then the neighbor walks in and is like, "What the fuck are you? What are you doing?
You're strangling your own child."
Tries to get him off, and he kind of shoves him, but they restrain him, and Bonnie's fine.
And so, she talks to the mom like he tried to kill me. Like, I love you, mommy, and she's the mom chooses.
Well, the mom goes kind of deadpan and is just like, I love you too, Bonnie.
She chooses the daughter.
So now it jumps a little bit, and we see the husband talking with the psychiatrist friend, and they're at the park.
And how, that's it.
There's no taking her back. Nothing's gonna happen. She left. I don't know where she is. She took Bonnie, and they just are in the wind. And he's like, well, there still is a chance, and he's like, no, she has Bonnie now. It basically is she's just fucking given up.
That's it. Yeah.
There's no convincing her that Bonnie is evil. And so he looks over and he sees the cult woman, and he's like, oh shit! And she's there.
He sees her talking to
a family.
Yeah.
A mom with 3 kids.
Yep.
And so he's like, "Oh fuck! I gotta stop her before this happens." So he sprints
across this
park,
lake, yeah.
And he gets to where they were, and there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
There's just a bunch of random people, but no one like her. And so it starts zooming out
the helicopter,
the helicopter against the skyline of London, and ends.
Yep.
This movie is severely fucked up, but really well made, and holy shit, Bonnie, wow.
Yeah.
It's not as it's more extreme than the Bad Seed, and it's kind of a really extreme version. I mean, because the only people that die in the movie are kids.
Yeah.
And so in The Omen, you get adults dying.
It's adults,
not kids,
or adults killing themselves.
Yeah.
There's other.
So it's yes, that's extreme, but that's how it's a lot different than The Omen, because this is just all kids. And there is a supernatural element a little bit, kind of, with the cult lady.
Kind of.
Because she's basically that bird. But she's planting this baby to murder the entire family except for the mom.
It's just in her nature.
Yeah. That's it.
There's nothing evil. But that's what she is.
I do appreciate the ambiguous ending, right? Where it's just you don't really know where she came from, what's happening with her, but that's okay, because that's more scary.
Well, that's also, I mean, because that is true to the book, and that's what I loved about the book. And this is that there is no there. I mean, in a way, there is an explanation.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, isn't it scarier to think that there's this woman that's going around planting a baby that kills the other kids and only wants the mom?
And it loves the mother 100%. It only wants the mother's attention.
And there's no explaining it, and there's no stopping it.
That's it. But there's also that thing of it's not even that she's evil. She's just doing what's in her nature. That's it. There's nothing demonic.
No. I mean, she is evil, but it's she's just doing what she was made to do.
Yeah, listen, some dude read about a bird that does this and wrote an entire book.
That is a scary thought, though. Like, I mean, a kid killing other kids to only get to the mom.
And of course, the craziest shit is when even the unborn kid.
Yeah. Like, will not let another kid into this mom. Like, once it's attached, nothing will stand in the way.
That's it. It's
absolutely nothing will stand in the way of this kid getting what it wants.
Now, in the ending of the book, he goes up to, like, you know, try to strangle Bonnie.
So, spoiler for the book, if you do want to read it, just skip ahead.
Because if you are a book reader, I 100% recommend the book as well. But in the book, he goes up to, like, strangle her, and he starts fighting her, and it describes that she's got, like, superhuman strength, and he can't fucking kill this little girl, and she ends up, like, permanently crippling him.
Mm-hmm.
As, like, everyone, like, you know, just no one fucking believes him because you're trying to murder a fucking child. And the ending of the book is he's in, like, a home for crazy people, and he's in, like, a wheelchair, like a vegetable, and, you know, the wife and Bonnie visit him and just say goodbye, and that's it. It's fucking incredible.
I don't know if the filmmakers on this were like, we can't go that bleak.
Either that, or I don't know if they just were like, I don't know how we're going to be able to film.
Well, how can you film a child having because, I mean, they mention it in the movie, but how do you put that on screen?
Yeah, like, and make it look
like not hokey.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is a very serious movie. There's no, like, not a lot of, like, comedic
camper
shit in it or anything like that. So, like, it's really well done. I really liked how they did it. I do appreciate that all the kid deaths are, like, kind of, like, not shown how she kills them. It just shows, like, that they're dead.
Yeah, I think in the book, I mean, obviously, like, the drowning, he is drowned.
Yeah.
I think in the book, the toddler, I think they find him, like, on his stomach, and it's implied that he, like, suffocated. He just, like, turned over and, like, couldn't turn back over.
Yeah, right.
And I think the older kid, I think his neck's broken or something.
Okay.
The window death is in there. Like, that's all there.
I mean, that's the only death you see on screen. But
you see it happening.
You see everything happen, and I'll be the first to tell you, this movie made me uncomfortable.
It's great.
I don't really like seeing a bunch of kids die.
Never expect it,
but that's why it's effective too. Is the thing? It's very shocking because it's like you don't really expect a budgeted movie to go there.
Yeah, like a movie that got a theatrical release.
It's still kind of controversial to show, like, child death on screen.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had, like, 5 kids dying on screen is pretty insane. I'm not gonna lie. But I like that. I like that it, like, kind of didn't shy away from it.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole subject matter. That's why it's terrifying, because this is fucking kids we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I really liked this movie. I thought the acting was good. I thought the camera work was, you know, decent. Everything about it was pretty good. I mean, it's not like the soundtrack's kind of throwaway, but, like, I mean, I'm not going to get into nitpicks. It was pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. So I don't know if that was the outcome the person suggesting it was hoping for, but I did like it. The kid was really creepy.
All 3 of them? Yeah.
Yeah. No, like every like so every age of the kid they used 3
different
was really good. I thought the mom and the dad did a pretty good job of, like, acting like these horribly distraught fucking, like, depressed people going through a lot, like, way too much shit. I don't know, like, I thought it was just a decent movie. I'm surprised I haven't seen it before, because I do think the whole, like, bad kid thing is a little played out, but I thought it's
a different take.
This did a little bit more extreme than I was feeling, so, like, that's why it kind of gets more high marks for me.
Because it's a very different take on it.
What was that one with Macaulay Culkin and
The Good Son?
Yeah, The Good Son.
That's a great movie.
That's a really good movie.
But
that is really good.
That's another uplifting.
That one is bleak as fuck.
I mean,
the fucking Macaulay Culkin dies at the end.
He literally is just
thrown off a cliff.
A fucking like serial killer in the making.
Well, because it's like, you know, at the end of that one, she has to choose.
She literally chooses
which kid, and like Macaulay Culkin is like begging her to save him, and she chooses Elijah Wood.
The craziest bit in that movie is the fucking part where he throws the dude off the fucking mannequin off the freeway and causes like a 500 car pileup.
Yeah, it's insane. But no, I mean, there are some standouts, obviously, in this genre of like bad kid, right? Like the first Omen, you know, The Good Son, Bad Seed's a pretty decent one, but it is a little played out, so it's really good. I mean,
there's Orphan.
It is good. It is good to see like a refreshing take on it. That's really shocking and pretty horrific. It's a pretty hard watch, especially if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, like kid death.
I'm horribly desensitized, but I mean, there's not a lot of movies.
I'm desensitized too, but this one did shock. This one did quite shock me, and I was very uncomfortable throughout the entire movie. But I did make it through
because this is not common.
No, it's not. I've not seen a movie that goes this far.
Because usually the evil kid movies, it's like they kill other adults.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? That's how they get away with it, because they kill adults. So it's like it's more like, okay, they're just killing adults. They're not killing other kids. They're hurting other kids, which is always uncomfortable. But then
get to this.
But then there's like 5 kid deaths in this movie, and that's it. Like no adults die at all. So yeah. Kudos to this movie. It very much shocked me. I was really surprised and very uncomfortable, but like I think that was the point.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Let's do shitty to pretty.
I'll give it an 8.
I think an 8 is good. The subject matter for me was a little extreme.
Oh, that's fine.
That's why it's not getting like a 10 out of 10. I was like, it did its job effectively, but I'm like, I don't know if I could give this a 10 out of 10.
If it went more extreme, I would have given it a 10.
I guess that's fair.
But
like if it would have showed Bonnie actually.
Well, no, not that. But because like there's just like little bits like from if I like from me remembering the book, there's definitely even more of a sense of like menace in the book. So it because there is more, it's more graphic, and like the whole breakdown of the family is much more
probably
aggressive.
More in depth. I think that probably would have given it like, I mean, you know, we're seeing a family get torn apart by like a little kid.
Yes.
So they didn't have a lot of time to go into that. I think if they did, I think it would get higher marks, because you don't get any time with the parents dealing with this grief, right? It just jumps to the next death. Because
they got,
the next death,
90 minutes.
They got like 90 minutes.
Which is fine.
It's a very tight movie. The pace is breakneck. Like, they just fucking go.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how long.
They don't waste your fucking time. After like the first like 10 minutes, it just fucking like the kids start dying.
It's death right away. Yeah,
it's like it's kind of insane how fast this movie goes. It's very, very fast paced,
which is good. It doesn't waste your time.
It doesn't waste your time. It's 90 minutes, but like I said, we don't get any time to see really the grief, right? We don't get to see this corrode the family dynamic, which I probably would have appreciated a little bit more, but like I get it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like nitpick it too much, but I would have liked. I think it would have got higher marks if it showed more of that, because this would absolutely fucking devastate a real family. Like,
if this actually happened,
there's no fucking way this would not absolutely demolish any like sort of family you had.
And the whole thing of like, you trying to get your partner to accept that one of your children is...
Yeah, and they didn't give it enough time to go through that.
Murdering everybody.
because we just have a few confrontation scenes, but they never really go too far with the confrontation scenes. So if I had to nitpick, that's probably where it would be.
Yeah.
But we're not here to nitpick,
No.
so it's an 8 out of 10. Thank you for whoever suggested this. I never, this movie was never on my radar. So yeah, I appreciate that I've seen it. I'll never watch it again. Not because it's a bad movie, just because the subject matter is something I would rather not see on a repeat watch.
Well, if you might have to, if for whatever reason you ever end up doing a Evil Kid marathon for yourself, Will.
I don't know if I'd do that.
You have a contender there.
I don't. Yeah, I guess. Okay.
And the one out of a billion chance.
If I did that, yes, this would go on there, to be honest. But I'll probably just stick to my Omen marathon and just leave it at that. I like this movie, don't get me wrong, but it's a little extreme on the child murder for me. So
It's just a bird, Will.
Well, okay, but it's not. It's a little kid.
No, it's a bird.
It's a little kid murdering other kids. Like, just admit it. Are you trying to disassociate with the fucking fact that it's a kid killing other kids?
It's just a bird.
Stop disassociating.
It's just put what's his name? David Attenborough's narration over this.
Just a bird.
The harshness of nature.
The cycle has to continue. Listen.
But yes, she has to go around. She has to pop her egg somewhere.
You can justify it however you fucking want. I'm not watching this movie again.
I think you will. One day you'll have to.
I don't really want to, but maybe I'll have to, and eventually.
It's not about want. It's like I don't want to go to work this week, but
that is fair. That's a fair point. No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, listen, go watch it for yourself. Tell us what you think. Maybe drop a line on Facebook or on our Instagram or
on YouTube, whatever.
On YouTube or wherever you want. We even have a Threads and a Twitter.
Wherever you get your a podcast consumption.
We have all of that. And guess what? I'm on the socials more. You can talk to me directly. You see my ugly mug almost on a daily basis now.
You can drop whatever.
You see my ugly fucking bald head on the fucking Instagrams and the Threads, okay?
On the grams.
But yes, thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for the engagement. I hope it continues, and I hope this is forward momentum.
Yeah.
Again, I am on the socials now. If you comment on any of them, I will be there.
He knows.
So I know.
Big brother knows.
Self-appointed social media manager with my fancy job title.
You had to make a fancy job title. Okay?
I did. Okay. It's what I am.
Get a name.
I get paid the big bucks for that. Okay.
Just get a nameplate and everything.
I have an office.
Yeah.
A corner office. Everything.
Oh yeah, a corner office with a view.
Yeah, if we'd ever get monetized.
Get that corner office.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for hearing our stupid rambling shit at the end of the episode. We appreciate it if you got this far. We appreciate you. And for They Mostly Come Out at Night, this has been Will.
This has been Alex.
We will talk to you all later.
Bye.
It's just a bird.
Just a bird.
Just a bird.
Just drop your eggs, Will.
It's just a bird.
It's literally
just
a cuckoo, okay?
Shut the fuck up.